All right, man. So we're gonna do a little quick follow up on our 410 video from the other day. I'm gonna try to be real logical and calm, and I actually wanted to look some stuff up, but I realized that information was not relevant to my argument here. So rather than let me back up. If you watch the other 410 video, you know that I talked about I like a break action single shot 410 for home defense, and I talked a little bit about it. Opened up a can of worms. I'm used to a can of worms. If you've ever watched our video on the 7.62 by 39 and read some of the comments, you know that I don't mind ruffling some feathers and questioning some orthodoxy. And I've got a pretty thick skin, but some folks real close to the channel and real sort of dear to our, I don't want to say dear to our hearts, that sounds weird, but people we think highly of took strong exception to some of what I said in this video. Ogre Dad, who's been with us for a very long time, Jimmy D, who's been with us for a very long time, both are moderators, and some new people and some others questioned my thought processes on this and challenged me a little bit. So I realized a couple of things. First off, I wasn't very clear in that video why I like the single shot 410. What most of the guys were dissatisfied with was the choice of a single shot 410 and the choice of number 6 bird shot. Most of them think the 410 itself can be an effective option. They want to see slugs. They wanted to see double-aught buck or even a number 4 shot or something more than just the six shot. And I get that. So what I want to do with this video real quick is fill in some of the gaps that I left in that last one where I didn't explain all of my reasoning. Acknowledge a lot of the criticism, because especially Jimmy D and Ogre Dad, everything they said was not technically true, was true. It was accurate, you know, and it was all information I put into the mix, and I came up with a different conclusion than they did. But all their inputs are correct. So let me try to deal with this on 2 levels. First, I guess let me talk about the big overarching reason why I like this single action or single shot break action 410 with number 6 shot for home defense. Listen, I'm a Marine. I love firepower. I am of the firm belief that I used to be of the firm belief that a rifle should be 30 caliber and made of walnut. You know, I have changed that view a little bit as I aged, but I still, you know, if it was up to me, we'd all be carrying AR-10s. You know, I like firepower. There are some reasons why a home defense gun I don't think should be about firepower. I touched on it. Most likely your wife is going to be using that. There's a good chance that if it gets used for home defense, your wife is going to be using it. So why doesn't she need the most powerful gun available? For a couple of reasons. First off, as a man, it's your job to secure the place anyway. She shouldn't be facing too many threats. If you're in that dangerous of a situation, you need to fall back and fix that beforehand. Get somewhere safer. Secure the area. Do something so that you're not living in fear that your home has to be a fortress. That's not always possible. I know that. The other thing is that women should not be put in the position where they have to be. Violence is sacred. Violence is the domain of men. For me, a home defense weapon needs to change the balance of power. It needs to give that woman a chance to defend herself, defend her home, to defuse a situation. It's not about bringing maximum firepower and maximum effectiveness. I don't want Mariah to have to think like that. I want her to be a mother and a nurturer, and I'm not saying you can't be all those things, but I don't want to turn her into a tactical wizard. That goes against her nature, And there's nothing wrong with women shooting and women having, you know, ARs and 9mm Glocks and all that stuff if that's what they're into. And there's certainly nothing wrong with a woman defending her children or her home or her family or even her husband. But I don't want to put my wife, and in that situation. I want to give her the bare what's needed, and not put her in a place where she's thinking about, you know, if I pull this trigger, do I? Yeah, I just don't want to complicate all that. I want a good, simple, safe, effective solution that allows her to be in control of the security situation around the homestead in my absence. That break action 410 is not the only solution we have towards that guard in that way. So why do I think the break action single shot first off is the right choice? It's simple. I know you guys have talked about this. I mean, Jimmy D, he knows this stuff, and he got into me a little bit, and I'm not blaming him at all. That's fine. That makes me better. That makes the channel better. Our comment section is by far and away the best comment section I've ever read on YouTube, largely due to guys like Jimmy D. Actually, I mean, Jimmy D is a big part of it, him and all the moderators. And I won't try to list everybody because I'll forget, I'll leave out a name and I'll feel guilty. But this particular case, it was Ogre Dad and Jimmy D who really elevated the level of the conversation. But they talked about, you know, how quick that pump was and how easy that pump was. And much simpler than the break action, and there's more steps, and the break action gives more opportunities to, you know, to fumble around with a shell in the middle of the night or drop it or all that. I recognize that, and I think all those risks are worth what the single shot allows as far as safety. You know, safety of not something tragic not happening. You know, your home. If you have to defend your home, you never want your home to be a war zone, because what happens to the battlefield? You know, if you have a battlefield always gets torn up way more than anything else in the fight. So I'm not making a whole lot of sense here. I'm sure a lot of you guys are picking up what I'm laying down here. I don't necessarily want a weapon that's going to throw just, you know, a dozen rounds downrange in my living room. I want something that, when I say simple, in this instance makes it as simple as possible for nothing tragic and stupid and bad to happen. Okay? I think that single shot makes it much less likely that anything bad is going to happen to someone else other than the person you're shooting. Right? Okay, so the number 6 shot is the same thing. You know, it's not penetrating that wall. You know, there in our home, you know, I don't want to give away too much stuff here, but it's highly likely with 7 children that the wall behind the target has a child behind it. You know, over penetration is not just like this academic thing for me. When I look at the tactical setup in our home, if we were defending it, almost every shot would put a child on the other behind the target. Now you could make the argument, and it's probably a valid one, that I should solve that I should change the home somehow. I appreciate that, and that's in the future. There's going to be some changes, but it's not going to happen overnight. So for our home, I think for many homes, I think for many women, it's better to give up some tactical ability to have that security and that peace of mind that in trying to protect your family, you don't endanger your family. I don't know that I really expressed that well enough, you know, but there is this tension. Our home is not, you know, a Marine Corps base. If it was a Marine Corps base, you know, I could secure this son of a gun. I could make it drum tight, you know. It's not. It's a home. There's children growing up here. There's you know, all the things that go around with being a home. So there's a tension. that you have to, a middle ground between security and safety, or all the various different aspects of security and safety maybe. I shouldn't even say security and safety, because it's all security and safety. It's which threat are you most worried about? Are you going to get so focused on one threat that you forget all the other threats? So I still stand by the choice. I would recommend it to many people. Now, like I said, it's not the only option I have available to me. If something goes bump in the night, it's probably not what I'm grabbing. And that's the thing. I'm at home at night. I don't spend time away from the family. If things go bump in the night, I'm taking care of that. So that changes the conversation a little bit too. This is a daytime thing. Anyway, you guys can fill in the blanks there. But all that being said, undoubtedly, guys, a 12 gauge is always going to be stronger than a 20 gauge, which is always going to be stronger than a 410. Sometimes brute force is not the right answer. If you watched that video, you saw how quick that pump action did those 3 shots. It surprised me. I think that was the first time I'd fired that gun too. It may have been the second time. I don't remember for sure. But I've never shot that gun before or trained with it. And I was very, very impressed with how quick those 3 shots got off. And I was very disappointed in how long it took me to get the 3 shots out of the single shot. So no doubt there's some more training that needs to happen there. It is not the most tactically effective choice. I did not also make clear in that video that with all those things being said, the break action single shot is still not my main choice. I would prefer the circuit judge for a lot of reasons. And the circuit judge, if you're not familiar with it, is a revolver that's chambered for 410, or it can take 45 long Colt. The judge itself is a revolver. Most of you are probably familiar with that. The circuit judge is a rifle version. It's got the revolver cylinder, but it's got a stock and a slightly longer barrel. And I think that's probably the best option all the way around. But I don't have the money to invest in a circuit judge right now. One day we will. I think it's a really great versatile weapon that a lot of people should probably think about having for a lot of reasons. A guy did send me a link to a video about that AR-410. It's made by a company called American Tactical International, and I believe they call it the Omni. I haven't looked up to see if it's still available or not, or what the prices might be on it. I think that is an amazing option too. For a real operator, I think for tactical purposes, that really excites me. I think about that for a whole host of situations, and I think that's got a lot of applications. Someone was thinking outside the box on that one. Anyway, I hope, guys, that this sort of smooths over maybe some of the disdain. I really felt like for a minute there I was losing some of the respect to some of you guys. I understand that it's outside of the box. I want you to remember that 100% tactical effectiveness is not the only option. Is not the only consideration. There's other factors that go into this. And now think about this too. From a legal standpoint, someone else brought this up in the comment section. If you don't read our comment sections, I really suggest you do. You learn more from those comment sections than you will ever learn from watching me. But they talked about from the legal standpoint, how it looks going in front of a court and saying, I defended myself with the most basic, least powerful weapon available, versus, I defended myself with the laser-guided Buck Rogers. I think Jimmy D called me out on the Buck Jones thing too. I mean, you got me coming and going a couple of times, Jimmy. I won't deny it. But the latest, greatest laser-guided Buck Rogers, rail gun or whatever. And from a legal standpoint, it's a much easier case to make that you were defending yourself and you weren't some crazed right-wing gun nut, looking to blow away some poor Jean Valjean who was just trying to get a piece of bread, Anyway, and God forbid, your wife ever had to defend herself. Same thing. Afterwards, she's not thinking in her mind, oh God, I went out with this this tactical 12 gauge with an axe underneath and killed. You know, she knows in the back of her mind that she did it, that she had the least amount of culpability possible for this. I really believe, men, violence is the domain of men, and to the greatest extent possible, we need to keep women and children out of it. And I don't think anyone watching this channel would argue with that. So anyway, I'm sorry I went a lot longer than I meant to on this. I did want to follow up, though. I wanted to make sure that you know, everyone knows that I'm not crazy. There's other reasons behind this than tactical effectiveness, and I did not talk about that. I should have gone into the philosophical reasons behind, and just the practical reasons too. You know, with our children, you know, 7 children spread out in a 1,700 square foot house. You know, every wall's got a kid on the other side of it. I'm sorry, I need to wrap this up, man. But thank you. We appreciate you, and maybe we'll get the chance to talk about this some more later.